What's good, everybody? It's your boy Saint Deadeye, and today we're getting mini with it. That's right, we're checking out none other than the Ruger Mini-14 chambered in 5.56. So, let's get right down to the basics. What is a Mini-14? Well, it's exactly as the name implies. It's an M14, but smaller. It has been scaled down from the 7.62mm NATO cartridge to the 5.56mm NATO cartridge. Let's get to the history of the gun itself. These were designed between the years of 1967 and 1973 by a gentleman named Leroy James Sullivan in conjunction with William Ruger. And Leroy Sullivan is the man who also helped Eugene Stoner scale down the AR-10 from 7.62 NATO to the M16 in 5.56 NATO. So, Mr. Sullivan has a history of scaling down weapons to fit the 5.56 NATO cartridge. And this is arguably his most famous one that he has done. It hasn't seen any true military use. It was never meant to be a military weapon. This was always meant to be a commercial civilian weapon. But it has seen armed conflict in the past because it was just something that the participants in said armed conflicts could get their hands on. Namely the Rhodesian Bush War, also known as the Zimbabwe War of Liberation, but more importantly, the Northern Ireland conflict, also known as the Troubles. There are actually pieces of footage of people using the Mini-14 in the Northern Ireland conflict. So, there's that. It's a gas-operated short-stroke piston rifle. And funny enough, it comes in a variety of different flavors. From 223 Remington and 5.56 NATO being the chamberings for the Ranch rifle and the GB models, to the model known as the Mini-30 because it is chambered in 30 caliber rounds. You can get those in 7.62 by 39, the AK-47 round, or 300 blackout. So when it comes to the ammunition, you can get a variety of different sized magazines for these. This is a 30 rounder because I don't care about YouTube's rules. I have a couple of those, and the guns themselves usually come with a pair of these little 5-round magazines. They are rock and lock magazines. You can also get 15 and 20 round magazines for them, and I believe, I forget the name of the company, but some crazy company out there makes a 60 round drum for these. But they are rock and lock, so insert like that, rock it backwards, lock it in. Got your mag release tab right there. Extremely similar to an AK-47. It is the exact same magazine release system as its older brother, its inspiration, the M14. So there's your 5-round magazine, which must be inserted at an angle like that, and they sit flush in the gun. So I guess you're wondering how you're supposed to get that out of there. Well, they kind of just pop right out when you press on the release tab right there. So let's actually get a close-up of this gun, and I'll show you a couple other features that it has. This rifle's got a couple of cool features that its older brother, the M14, does not. As you can see, it's the same basic action. I just knocked a whole bunch of stuff on the table over by doing that. But, yeah. Same basic action, and this action actually goes all the way back to the M1 Garand, which is why this little cover is right here. The operating rod is on the outside of the gun, and this being as small as it is, and you're not really having anywhere else to put your hands when you're firing this, they decided that the top piece of the handguard here would have this cover that comes over and covers up the operating rod so that you do not get your fingers chomped by this gun while you're shooting it. Another cool feature it has is a manual bolt hold open. You can see that right here. There's this little button right here on top of the action. Normally, when you have a magazine in and you fire your last round, it holds open. But when you do not have a magazine in, this action does not stay open without an empty magazine in it, unless you pull it back, press that button down, then you can let it go, and your action stays open. What's the purpose of this? Well, so you can just throw a mag in there and do a little end chamber around. The safety is the same as a Garand and an M14. You have a round in the chamber, you press the safety back into the trigger guard, and that's on safe. Press it out of the trigger guard, you're on fire, and the weapon is clear, so you're on fire there. The sights are pretty basic. They're just your rear aperture and your front post there. If I can get a good, there we go. So the sights are exactly the same as you would find on a Garand or an M14 or an M16 or, you know, pretty much any American weapon that came after World War I has had the same sight picture on it. So this falls right in line with that. I got mine in a polymer stock. They come in wood as well. I do like the aesthetic of the wood stock better, but I bought this gun as a backup to my AR-15, so I wanted it to be just as light, just as portable. So I got it in the, what they call the tactical stock, or the polymer stock, the black stock. They come with options for flash hiders, you know, various muzzle devices. I got mine without a muzzle device because it was like $100 cheaper for some reason. A muzzle device costs $100 nowadays. But yeah, that's basically it for the close-up of this gun. It's very simple and very practical. Alright, so now that I'm done rambling on about next to nothing, trying to make this video longer, let's do what you really came to see. Take the Mini-14 out to the range and kick some brass.
And get it to shiny. And it'll solve that problem, and you won't have to dick around with anything else.
Oh, I already sanded down the wash. Sorry, not the washman. Now it's feeding just about anything on it.
Oh, okay.
Unfortunately, my feed so my feed is plastic.
Oh, wow.
Yep, it's actually a separate part that's held on by the same, actually, a screw that the bottom action screw actually screws in, a hollow bolt.
Wow.
It was the first job I did on a firearm. Quite a
I have a cheap Mossberg, you know, like just a plankster.
There's a hazmat feed outer black, and they didn't pass it on to me.
That's like an $80 fee.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe either Brown company didn't get it. Whenever I've ordered ammo online, done it 2 or 3 times now.
No hazmat fee.
Nope.
Wow.
Yeah, I was pretty impressed with the ammo shortage. Did you just take the That's why all these are here. The 308 was hitting me before.
I probably didn't hit a damn thing.
You got it, dude.
Yeah. You gonna try and rip on it? It's kind of a pain in the ass.
Yeah, I can
It's
see that.
Nothing,
Yes, we are. What's that?
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, at this range of the red dot, I can't see anything while I'm doing, you know what I mean?
I have the same problem. The red dot covers it.
I was on it, if it was straight,
Yeah, yeah.
And there you have it, the Ruger Mini-14 in action on the range. If you enjoyed this video, give it a like, comment, share, but most importantly, subscribe. And I will see you next time. I'm Saint Deadeye. Peace out, everybody.